the eyes, Chico. They never lie.
Okay. Welcome back to the Introverts Anonymous podcast. My name is Dalen. This is episode 6, and probably the only episode that I've done for this year. But hopefully that will change. I'm going to start off this episode with a little foreword. Just some shit I wrote while I was thinking about what we're going to be talking about today. So, yeah. It's tea, by the way. It's tea. I know how I used to start it off. We're trying to change things up. We ain't starting it off like that no more. All right. Without payment, without resistance, your soul has been sold, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. As a musician, I'm noticing the soul that is musicianship and the disciplines that facilitate the creations of the albums, EPs, singles, and classics that we all have committed to memory. The music we have tattooed on our bodies, the music we have cried our hearts out to, the music we have made love to. The many human experiences etched into the fabric of our lives by the pens and instruments of the select few, who harness the universally bestowed gift that is sonic manipulation. This gift being repurposed by the soulless to remove the human part for profit, and I am witnessing the most talented and influential of us tokenize themselves, and that they only accelerate the demise of our soul. So that's starting off a little deep, but that's just how I've been feeling. I know everybody's probably been noticing this explosion of AI, especially in songwriting, audio recording, the whole nine, right? I ain't gonna say no names, but it's a big one that starts with a S. And right, I'm all for technological progression, especially when it comes to music technology, because I'm a musician first. But there's a thing about all disciplines. I don't care what it is, whether you're an athlete, musician, you do extreme sports, dancer, writer, anything that you can name, anybody will tell you there's a process to get from where you first start off with whatever discipline you want to get into, and in between that and getting to where you are competent, and then getting to where you are actually producing things that you like and that can be consumed by some others who will also like it and appreciate it. There's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of sleepless nights, blood, sweat, and tears that go on in these phases. It is supposed to take time. Like, what is it? What do people say? Anything worthwhile will not come easy, right? And anything that does come easy is normally not good for you most of the time. So, looking at that and then going, they are literally taking that process out of the music. We already have a big issue with music today not really being in the control of us as consumers, especially black culture. We are not really in control of our own narrative. We are not the CEOs. We are not on the boards. We are not the many A&Rs and all these other things that go into what gets pushed to popular culture. So every once in a while, you'll see a breakthrough artist, I feel like, who you can tell really has a respect and love for the culture. They bring something new and they bring us classics, so on and so forth. They might be an independent artist. They could be an artist that's signed. Every once in a while we get that, but what we have for the most part is what some might call is microwave music. I'm not shitting on anybody in the way their process is because I've used some of these processes before, but it's literally like, let me go on a popular music library, go through until I find some samples that I like, drag and drop, boom, put that up on a beat marketplace or put it out somewhere. An artist sees it, they spit whatever they spit over it or they sing whatever they sing over it, and boom, post. If you see that process versus what the music process used to be, what I said earlier should make a lot of sense. Now, I don't have an issue with that per se, what I just said, of how easy the process has gotten to create, produce, and push music. Because even in that, you could still get some really good stuff. There's still some part of a process. You still have to learn the DAW. You have to learn how to record your voice. You have to learn how to use different VSTs and effects to make the samples and music sound the way you want. And you can go a step further with sample manipulation, sampling, and chopping samples up, sequencing them to where they don't even sound like the original thing. They sound like something brand new. Even there's levels to that. There's still a process to that whole thing. But with the introduction of AI into the music space, now all you have to do is prompt ChatGPT, or not even ChatGPT, I'm tripping. Prompt whatever music AI service you're listening to, like the one that starts with a S, and it will make a song for you. You can say, "Hey, I want to have some old school 90s boom bap drums, jazzy keys, and type in all these things and add in all these things." Whatever the software is trained off of, which is people's work, people's intellectual property, whatever it's trained off of, it will spit something out that matches as much as it can to what you prompted it to. So just zoom out and let's look at music, right? Let's go from like the 60s and 70s on up. Now, 60s, 70s, 80s, you were 60s, 70s before the introduction of, or the standardization in the industry with using electronic instruments. You had to bring a drummer in, you had to bring a keyboardist in, you had to bring different vocalists in for backgrounds. You had to bring, if you wanted an orchestral section, you were going to have to bring an orchestra in, or a horn section, you have to bring a band in. There was a lot more. There was, yes, a higher bar of entry to create music. That's a good and a bad thing. It being a higher bar means not everybody has access to it, right? And I do think breaking down barriers that give people access to creating things like music and being able to express themselves and put it out there, that is important. But I think it also held music to a higher standard. To get in a room as a keyboardist, to get in a room as a bassist or a guitarist, you had to be really good. And to get it to a point where a label wanted to invest money in you, you had to be talented. You had to sing for real. You had to be able to write songs. Right now, of course, songwriters also were brought into the process as well. So at the very least, you have to be able to sing. You have to be profitable at that point in time. Now, fast forward into the era of electronic, we reached a point where technological innovation, you had the 808 and the 909 drum samplers, the evolution of the turntable and its And let me say, I am speaking more from a black music perspective, so that's where a lot of my parallels are going to come from. But the innovations of the turntables and what it meant to be a MC or a DJ starts to come to the forefront of popular culture. So now, yes, it's still kind of expensive, but you can save up and get an 808 or a 909 drum machine. You can save up and you can get, turntables and learn how to DJ, and you can start creating music in that way. That was still, so the bar of entry is lowered because now with sampling kind of taking over, you can be like, okay, I'm going to take this string section from here. I'm going to take this break beat from here. I'm going to take these vocals from here. I'm going to take these percussions from here. You just buying records. Boom, 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 running them into your sampler, or you have the 808, the 909, you have the Kai machines, drum machines. You just sampling in, boom, 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 do your drums, sequence, beat. And early in this time, you had the ability, or earlier in this time, or in this time, you had a lot more of a respect for the craft coming off of the era. I feel like this is opinion at this point. We had this section, at least, is you had people, I feel like, respecting the craft more because of the era that they had experienced growing up. So yes, the bar of entry is lower. It is a lot easier to make music, but you still have people that respect the music creating process because of the 60s, 70s, and 80s and everything brought up to it. They're the ones kind of shaping the music in that era of the 90s and early 2000s and the 80s and stuff. Fast forward now, you can have a live sampled VST. That's a virtual instrument. I don't know that exactly what the words mean, but it's pretty much just a virtual instrument, right? So you could say you can have like a what's it called? What's it called? Omnisphere, which is more on the expensive side, right? But it's a live sampled library. So if you want a Yamaha grand piano, it'll have a sampled Yamaha grand piano you can play on your MIDI board. For those who don't know what a MIDI board is a piano. It's a keyboard that does not make any sounds by itself. You need a digital audio workstation. That's FL Studio, that's Ableton, that's Cubase, that's any of those you might have heard of. And it sends note information to the digital audio workstation DAW to produce the sound that the virtual instrument is making. So now you have literal access to professionally graded or professional grade and recorded instruments and libraries to add to your production. That's good, right? Because there's still an element of, if you want to make something good, you want to if you want to score something, you need to understand the instruments that you're still working with. You should know a little music theory. Like you can vibe, you can paint stuff in, you can come up with something, create something out the blue that sounds good. But if you want consistent results, you're going to have to actually still learn it, right? I would say, when was Splice created? I don't know. This is kind of an overlapping time period. So now we get to Splice, right? And these sample libraries. FL Studio has a sample library, I think. Yeah, and then you have Splice, and then you have all these different libraries, right? Where you can now have a professional keyboardist, like a professional session keyboardist who probably works in the industry, who decided to sit down and make a sample pack with their own talent You can now go find that sample for as low as $10 a month. Use it to however you like, right? Now, we've completely removed at this point the need to learn instruments, which is a part of this whole process that I've been talking about. The necessity to learn instruments, to learn layering, to learn how to score something. Um, right now, all you have to do drag drop sequence. You might you might have all your samples and then you just do the drums, right? You go into the drum rack of whatever you're using, add the drums you want, and you just paint those in. You don't even have to play them no more, right? There's a lot of good music that has been created with this process, right? So I'm not saying that this is the issue at all. Now comes the issue where we have completely removed the need for even what I just said, drag, drop, and sequencing. Now the music process has been completely kidnapped, knocked over the head with a baseball bat, kidnapped, and thrown in a van. And now you're just typing. I'm going to throw up on Reddit. Somebody had posted, I think, in that AI music generator that starts with an S on their Reddit. It said, can we at least have a feature that auto generates prompts? Auto generates the prompts. So now we're getting to a point now where this person doesn't even want to take the few minutes it might take to type what they want to hear. They also want that part automated. Ladies and gentlemen, I get to my point. People that are like that have business, no business making art and putting it out to the world, because that person right there does not respect the creative process. That person right there does not respect that, or doesn't care that the AI platform he's using has been sued, has been found guilty of using the creative works and intellectual property of people that actually dedicated their lives to learning the process. If you would like to listen to music from that person, that's on you. That's your opinion. But personally, I'm not interested because that person does not respect the process. And not only does that not person not respect the process, but I wouldn't trust how good his ear is either, how good their taste is. Now, me personally, I have my gripes about AI music. It is probably one of the most terrible things, not, I'm being dramatic, but it's probably one of the most terrible things that I've had to experience in this internet age, right? You're scrolling on Instagram, which has been hijacked by ads literally every 2 to 3 scrolls on a Reels page or on your Explorer, you're getting advertisement, right? That's one thing. But now, because I guess I'm a musician, so they're like, oh, you're the target audience for this fake Black Christmas Carol AI page that's making AI music and has nothing but AI photos. That's what I'm having to see now. It sounds so terrible. To riddle me this. I will never get people that use AI in the way that they do for flyers, for this, for that, right? The shit looks bad. Period. Not only does it look bad, but it also looks unoriginal. Like, you're literally better off screenshotting a black screen, adding whatever information about the event, and then sending it off. Like, nobody When I started making my first flyers and doing my first little visualizers and things for my music, or just making content, right? I don't know. I respect the craft of art, period. So I wanted to learn Illustrator. I wanted to learn what is Black Magic's video software, DaVinci. I wanted to learn After Effects. I wanted to learn these things and be somewhat competent, so that until I get to a point to where I have a team, I can make wholly good around content. Like, I wanted to make good content all around, right? Now, of course, things take time. And I think, unfortunately, in the society we live in today, we're obsessed with perfection. Even I, as an artist, have that issue, right? But even if that's the thing, even if you're obsessed with the uniformity and the aesthetic of your page or perfection, using AI for visuals where it looks like 50 other accounts is using the same AI platform you use to make whatever you make, music, flyers, visualizers, pictures that are supposed to be of yourself, but you don't look like that. I don't know. Where does the world really come to? I digress on that, right? Because that's just my thing. I guess overall, yes, I'm a musician, and this video was originally about my gripes with AI in music, but it's a problem for creative disciplines in general, because people that want access to consistent quality work are using AI, which is consistent, kind of quality, not really, unoriginal, and cutting out people that could actually make that for them, who make their living off of doing these things, or just taking 10 to 15 minutes a day out of a busy schedule like other people who are super fucking busy had to do, and just learning it step by step, starting off small. Resourcefulness. Resourcefulness is a very, very important skill when it comes to being creative. Being able to be like, okay, I have this big idea, right? But this big idea that I might have would take months. It will require multiple different people, all this different type of equipment I have, boom, boom, boom. I don't have all of that. So how can I take this idea and make it bite-sized to where I can put it out in a reasonable amount of time with the skill set that I have now, or the skills that it will take to learn something that I can do in a relatively good enough time to get that out, right? That all takes resourcefulness. You will not learn how to be resourceful with something doing all the work for you. Shocker, right? Anybody will tell you that whatever you don't work for, you won't value. That's a fact. So going back to what I say, that person that wants just an auto prompt, they want to be able to hit a button, auto prompt, boom, create a song for them. Maybe they sing into a mic and then have AI edit how they sing because they probably don't know how to sing. All of these things. Damn, lost my train of thought. All of these things taken away from the process. But yeah, that person that doesn't respect the process is not learning the skills to get to that part of the process where they are resourceful, where they can have an idea, put it out, no matter how small, and it be substantial and it means something. and then doing that over and over again until you get better, 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 and better, and better, and better. That's where good art comes from, guys. Like, if you think you can circumnavigate that process to get to good art, you're wrong. Now, I think it was, I don't remember who it was. I'm going to throw up visual aids or whatever for some of these things. But somebody had tweeted and said, because we just had for a long time, I guess, there was no black music in the Billboard, or hip hop was not on Billboard 100 or Top 40 or any of that. And it was like, it's not that the music ain't being made, and it's not that the music's not good. They was like, it has just went back underground. I think wholly, even if we look at music, if we look at film, I think honestly, it's time to stop looking at LA and Hollywood and Atlanta when it comes to fashion, when it comes to music, and when it comes to movies. I think those industries have been completely ruined by capitalistic greed that is, and it's not putting creatives first. But I think when you look at the underground, right, I'm seeing more and more super duper quality short films that are coming out on YouTube. People just posting music for shits and giggles on SoundCloud. People picking up DJing and posting those mixes on SoundCloud. People going back to thrifting and things of that and building up their own style off of secondhand materials and showing people how you can keep it simple, or you can be a complete maximalist off of a secondhand style and look unique and look fire. All the creativity, all the good creativity, that's going to be coming from the underground for the most part from this point forward, because the the systems that were in control of it now have lost the plot. They've lost the plot. Greed is greed has taken over their minds. All they see is dollar signs. So yes, and there will be people, unfortunately, that are easily impressed. They'll look at a piece of artwork that's AI, or they'll listen to some music in AI. It'll be good enough. I would be lying if I saying the shit just sound, well, no, I wouldn't be lying. The shit sounds terrible. But to someone with a more casual stance on art, I can see how it's good enough for them. And that's okay. I'm not the target. But if you're currently wondering where the state of everything is going as far as music and stuff, and you want to know where to go, right? I will be posting weekly playlist updates as far as music. I have a few other friends and people that I know that are working, doing long form video content, short films, and that thing, recommending videos. I kind of want to create a community of people sharing the works of other people in these different industries that's quality, that's substantive. You can get something out of it. And I guess that's all we can do, is just keep uplifting and supporting the people that actually do care about this stuff. You can look at the buffoonery at the top all you want and complain and bitch and moan about it, but ultimately it's not going to do anything. So if you see your friend really trying to learn how to make music, really trying to learn how to sample, really trying to understand the writing process, if you see your friend buy a camera and they're really trying to learn how to do photography, or really trying to learn how to do videography, like, support them. Support them. They're not taking the easy way out. They've committed themselves to the journey of being a good creator that is lifelong. So that's all I got to say on the topic. I appreciate you for tuning in. This was the Introverts Anonymous podcast. My name is Dalen. You can follow me on Instagram, Deism, YISM. Yeah, appreciate it.